A warm good evening, everyone. I cordially welcome you all to the Expert Hack session number 9. So this is going to be a very interesting session where Aaron will be talking about how to become a TEDx speaker. And I'm sure many of you who are attending this session have that inner dream, that hidden dream to be a TED speaker, a TEDx speaker. So here you are going to get that right guideline how to go about. So let me introduce our guest speaker for today. He is one of my very good friends, Aaron Leung. So he has been the impromptu speaking world champion for 2019. He's a TED coach, he's a corporate trainer, and also the founder of Aaron Public Speaking Studio. And trust me, he's the best person to tackle this topic. So please put your hands together to welcome Aaron to the virtual dais. Aaron, the stage is all yours. A big round of applause for Aaron.
Thank you very much. So everyone can hear me. If you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. Just
Yep.
double checking your microphones and your headsets. Thank you very much. So yeah, so I'm here. I'm really honored to be invited by Debbie into this awesome platform to share about how to become a TEDx speaker. So let's do a little poll. How many of you secretly wanted to become a TEDx speaker, the next one that's on the stage? You can type 1 in the chat box if you want to. A lot of ones if you really want to, and explode it with ones if you think that that's the only thing that you care about in this world. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so I see some eager TEDx speakers. So yeah, thank you very much. So people who have come by are enthusiastic. So Linda is not enthusiastic. I'm so sorry about that though, but yeah. So yeah, for this one, let's start a little bit about why people wish to become a TEDx speaker or TED speaker, depending on the circumstances. So there are 3 key reasons why people love to become a TEDx speaker. Number 1, the stage is yours. Who wouldn't want a stage that people will definitely look up on YouTube? People can find your credential and credibility. And most importantly is that they really love to listen to what you got to say, because all of the TEDx speeches or TED speeches are all approved before they are published online. You also see that there are some speakers around the world who might have been on the TEDx stage, but due to whatever they said, may have been removed from YouTube. Yes, there are these situations, but all those who are staying on there are actually approved by TEDx and most importantly, TED Conference in the US headquarters, because most of the content are being looked at every single year. They're screened. And most importantly is that they will evaluate on the effectiveness, how many views, not just views itself, the value itself. Because let me do a little quiz here. What does TED stands for? TED. What does TED stands for? That word. Just a brain teaser since you are here to come by. You can type in the chat box. The one who have answered this correctly, you might have a little free gift from me. Might. If you know what TED stands for. You heard about TED. Come on, you got to do technology. Okay, so thank you, Maria, for giving me the answer for that. So you have a free 15 minutes consultation with me on anything related to TED. So first one comes first. So I'll just look at the first answer there. Great job, Maria. So feel free to tag me on that. Find me on LinkedIn and I'll just give you some more tips and advice on how to become a TEDx speaker. So you also see that that being on the TEDx stage, it's not just credibility and being renowned. There's a second reason. It's because you have something to share and really benefit the world. Many people look at TED. You can see that one of the top rated videos other than TikToks and stuff would be TED videos, not just TED videos itself, but TEDx videos, TED Ad, and also TED with LinkedIn Masterclass. So there are anything related to TED actually gives a lot of reputation credentials to whatever you're going to do. If you're a speaking coach, if you're a trainer, being on the TEDx stage will actually increase your value, and also not just your value itself, but also potentially salary-wise. And also most importantly is that they believe you with a very good first impression. So you get more job offers in somewhere. So ever since I've been a TEDx coach originally, before I upgraded myself to be a TED coach, that's a secret. I got at least 70% more offers. So I have more job offers because basically you just need to type my name on Google, you can find me literally. yeah, your top 3 search, definitely find me in any parts of the world. It's, at least my face is being recognized. So at least that's one way to really let people be searchable on you. And last but not least, to be on the TEDx stage itself, not just your ideas, not just your credentials, but most importantly itself, it helps you to network with the best of the best. Talent pool, we call it as a talent pool. Not just that, because the talent pool itself, you're able to get into a TEDx circle whereby you see a lot of different amazing speakers just like you. And you're able to network, you're able to know about different industries, you are able to collaborate with them on different things. So it's like a very nice network. After you've been there, you actually can get into it. So highly recommend for anyone who wants to go become a TEDx speaker. So this is really one good way to go. Now, the next question I'm going to ask is, now type your answers in the chat box. My next question is relevant to applying to be a TEDx speaker. How many years of public speaking experience do you have? So it can be 0 to as many years as possible. Type in the chat box. 0 to 6, 5 plus 0, 8, 5. Okay. Now, 0.2. Thank you for your creative answers here. Now, the funny thing is, let me myth bust it. To become a TEDx speaker, you do not need to speak well. You'll be like, all those speakers on the stage are doing really well. How could you say that you don't need to have public speaking experience? It's because once you become a TEDx speaker, you will be assigned to a coach. And that coach will follow you through and train you up and brush your skills up. So you can see that most of the speakers on the stage are all actually coached and trained so that you can see this. They might be from a timid person to an amazing speaker. That's the process. It doesn't need to be that you are speaking very well currently, because TED itself, it focuses on the 4-letter word, starts with I, idea. It focuses on the key idea that you have. Now, where do you find this key idea? Now, I want everyone to write the word idea in that piece of paper of yours. If you have it, because I kindly request that everyone should have a piece of paper and pen, because you can jot down some notes. So you need to have ideas. Now, what I'm telling you right now is, even before applying your TEDx application, you need to do this. So you need to have an idea. Now, where do you get the ideas? Like, you can find on the streets, you can find anywhere, like even in McDonald's or even KFC, any places. Now, the thing is that, what do you mean by an idea? Now, that idea has to have its global significance. Not just global significance. Number one is global significance. Number two is that something that you're an expert in. Yeah. So if you haven't discovered your strength, now I want everyone to think about, what are you super good at, that you think that the other friends, nah, they're not at Jeremy. Something that you're really, really good at. It can be anything, any talents, any specialty, any insights, any kind of angle that people might not even be exposed to. These ideas can come from yourself. So first point to look at is find the idea within you. So for me, I've been a public speaking coach for the past 16 years, even before TED. And I've been a corporate trainer too. But then there's one thing that I am really, really good about, is that I can actually read people within 5 minutes of time to know their potential, understand their history, and based on how they converse, I'm able to read their mental state. So this is like a skill set that I built throughout the years of a public speaker. So is this an idea? Maybe yes, because I don't think my friends have it. Not being a bragger, but the thing is that I never discovered people say you can 5 minutes discover someone's talent. So yeah, that's one thing. Now, I want you to think deeply about what your idea would be, or the idea of the angle that you have. You can think about it. Don't need to type it out, because everyone's talents and ideas are quite confidential. I like you to keep it on yourself, write it on yourself. So there's something that you're definitely good at, you're an expert in, and people can trust you on that. So that's number one. Okay, you need to have the idea. Okay. I was like seeing Debbie like shaking her head. No, I don't have an idea. Okay, so the idea, very, very important thing. Number two, other than the idea itself, there's something that we in TEDx applications, we definitely do, and you can do it first. It's called the fact-checking element. What do you mean by fact-checking? It means that, is there any other speakers that have done similar things like yours? You can search it on Google. You can search it on even like YouTube, any websites that might have these ideas. Go ahead and have a look. Now, if there's no speech like that, chances are you could be the exclusive producer for this, which means that you have higher odds to apply for a TEDx speaker role because you have an idea that most people don't share about it or don't know about. So really do the fact checks. Fact check, not just checking whether there is someone who is speaking the same thing, but at least there is some scientific evidence experiment from a well-renowned university, companies, research agencies that has support your claim. Now, why do I actually put this very importantly is because if you notice, most of the speeches in TED and TEDx, they have statistics, they have some proven research. Those are all evaluated and fact-checked so that the information that they give you are all 100% accurate at that moment. So if you do this step, you are boosting your credential that you are thoroughly prepared for your idea because people start to believe you. It's about a connection process. You want to get someone to believe you. First of all, you need to show that you are believable. And what do you believe from a first person's impression is what you say, how you say it, and most importantly, do you have things to back it up? Like for me, you can find my information online, and those are things that back me up. I don't need to say anything else. But the thing is that, what about they know about you? Is there anything that they can really search for you? So that puts to the third point. Are you searchable? Now, this is an undermined element that most people would kind of overlook. What do you mean by are you searchable? Do you have a website? If you don't, do you have a LinkedIn page? Do you have someone utilizing their website and have you in there? Like you're working for a company, you have a good reputation, they can actually search for it. You have some good feedbacks. When they are able to search for you, they're able to know you and research you thoroughly from the things that you do that supports what your idea is. So there's a saying that says, whatever you do have for the past 10 years will be seen by everyone. If you are able to actually be utilizing what you have been doing and following your heart and with a single mission, use that as your advantage. So searchable, you can, if you can't be searchable right now, don't worry, you can create a LinkedIn page, create a website so that at least people would know you. At least they can find you. They can hunt you. No, they can really find you, okay? They don't hunt you, they don't kill you, okay? So, but the most importantly is they really find you. Now, why is finding you more important than other things? It's because they don't know you. Who are you? If you are a person in this industry for 25 years, do you really back up that claim for 25 years? Where is the stats? What have you been doing? At least you can see my public speaking speeches. Linda, you have to mute it because I hear echoes. Okay. So the thing is, when they search for you, at least those years of experience are backed up. And most importantly, they know that you are the expert to talk to. All right. So 3 things. Now, can anyone recall all these 3 things first? Basics. These are basic stuff. Let's start with the basics first that we have to do. Type in the answer. The first one who gets it, as usual, type all 3, not 1.
Can I answer?
Any ideas? What am I good at? Yeah, and then please type all 3. Fact checking. Yep, correct. So basically, then I forgot I pronounced her name properly. Sorry, I try my best. Yeah, so basically this. So feel free to contact with me, and then basically I can share with you some more tips about that. So are you searchable? So these are a few things that you have to do beforehand. Now, I'm going to share you more tips that no other TEDx speakers will have shared with you at the very least, if you don't pay them at least 2,000 US dollars. Okay. So yeah, whatever you're seeing here, please credit me. Okay. Now, the next step that they do is that, now, how many of you know about the TEDx Speaker application form? If you know, please raise your hand. Okay, so we have one. Anyone else? Like Debbie's like, what is that? Okay, that kind of situation. So we have two. Okay. So the TEDx application form, secretly speaking, is lurking around the world. Now, what do you mean by TEDx speaker application form? So this form is kind of universal. It helps you to gather all the necessary information before you apply for a TEDx speaker. So you can get all those information prepared first, and kind of like it helps you to kind of, if you are the person that has lots of various ideas, but you do not know how to consolidate them, you can use that TEDx speaker application form. Now, how do you get that TEDx application form? Simply speaking, apply for any TEDx speaking roles, okay? And then they will give you the application form. Unless the one that says that please send me an email about it, they don't give you, okay? But most importantly, if you apply through the big ones, they will have a form for you to fill in. Now, I will tell you, please screenshot them, use it to your advantage, and prepare in advance, just like preparing a test. Like if you score for A levels, if you go for a university test, you need to get prepared, right? Get prepared, and then before you get more chances. The best preparation grants you the most opportunity. So you can have a TEDx speaker application form, which actually fills into 5 different key points, which I mentioned earlier on. Idea, do you have a website is available? And then after which, what's the one-liner for your idea? And then why is it important that people do care about? Those are in the TEDx application form that I don't need to really go through too much, because they've all the kind of key questions. So those of you who have seen the application form, you know what I'm talking about. But for those of you who don't, have a look. Those are the key information. It's like a kind of a manual. Now, after this, there's something more. Now, imagine that there are 1 million people applying to TEDx, like they are very enthusiastic, just like you. What makes you stand out? Right? Really key point. You want to stand out, you can get the station. Then the next thing comes very crucially. Make your video pitch. Okay, video pitch. Something that's kind of undermined in the TEDx world, that the pitch is like an evaluation tool for us. Because usually the process to go for a speaker role, there is actually a speaking committee, whereby they actually screen all the speakers based on their idea. So basically the names are all removed. We cannot see the names. We cannot see where they're from, so that we maintain our absolute non-biased look and look at just the idea and how you actually back it up. So all of this are usually fair, but there are always exceptions. Usually fair. So basically their names will not be there, and they only just look at the idea. What makes you stand out from the application is your video pitch, because from the words, I'm not a word person. I want to really see the vibe about how passionate you are on this topic. I want to share it. It doesn't matter about whether you speak well or not. I want to know whether you care so much about this idea that you really want to share with the world. So when you have that pitch, usually keep the pitch within 1 to 2 minutes. Highly recommended for it. You can record it. Once you have the idea, you can start recording it. One of the ways to revise and consolidate your ideas is to have the pitch a few times, replay again, because it helps you to kind of make your pitch much more convincible and backing up with different facts. So it helps you kind of like smoothen it logically while you know what potential flaws there are. So highly recommend for the video pitch that makes you stand out. Now, obviously you can record in any different formats. You do not need to be a guru for it. Obviously, there are some people who love to add some kind of edits to their videos. We don't really care about those animations and stuff like that. We care about your idea, as usual. Shall we share our YouTube videos? Yes, it's one of the searchable option. Remember, when you put on YouTube, they can search for you, right? This related to the question, shall we share our YouTube videos? Definitely, yes. but I don't recommend you to share your pitch in there. Now, the reason is very simple. There will be people who might grab your idea and put it as us. So I highly don't recommend you to put the pitch of yours in there. However, you can talk related to that topic. And then once you make a submission for it, you can make a private link on YouTube and send it to them. Totally fine. But then the thing is that you want to protect your idea as much before it's released. Just like a precious idea, it's only precious when you know how to value it. So highly recommend for anyone, if you want to be searchable, you can use YouTube, you can use any of the platforms that people can search for you, like Google, Bing. You can test it out and see whether you go for it. Okay. Now, other than those elements, we already spoken at least 5 to 6 already. Now, the next thing is what important it. Now, as I mentioned before, are you searchable? Are elements that people can find you on? They also want to know how committed you are. So the next question would be, have you been doing talks? Now, why do I actually ask this question about have you been doing talks? It's because they want to know your exposure. They don't need to know about your speaking style. But the thing is that since you're talking about that topic, let's say, for example, environmental protection, just giving, are you into this field that you have been talking related to that topic for a long time? Right? Simple, logical facts is to support you. And then once you have actually done it, there are different traces whereby people can search about you. There will be people who tag you along and say, hey, go for it. Then people will actually just, sorry, don't know what happened. Why do I raise my hand? Because I'm too ego. So the thing is that it makes things very searchable. And not just that, we have a saying called the walk the talk. We want to believe what you say. So things that traceable you, because when you do the walk the talk thing, doing the talks out in the public, it also helps people to recommend you too. Now, why will I actually put the word recommendation? It's just like, imagine the days where you apply for your first job. Now, how many of you have that first job experience that you need a reference from your university professor, or maybe someone that you can trust and they need someone to back your credentials up? Yeah, I know you have been there. So same thing. You also want people to recommend you. The more people who recommend you, the more you don't need to apply for a TEDx speaker. You've been recommended to go for it. Now, that's a surprise for everyone, right? Now, when you actually do something more in this industry, they are your promoters, not you. You don't even need to apply for it. And that's actually how I got my one of my invitation to a TEDx talk. Although in the end, I couldn't make it back because of the pandemic. I got kind of like barred. I couldn't cross the borders. Otherwise, just go back home. But yeah, I got invited. I still have that letter. I just pinned it in the wall. Not this wall, but at least I still remember the first time I got invited to a TEDx talk. Yeah, so that's like the fun part whereby you don't need to even recommend. People know you and know you do business. You know your stuff. Okay, so what happens if you are not a people-loving, friendly person? People don't recommend you. Whatever you say, people don't care. What happens? There will be people like that. Now, I know that now it's kind of overwhelming, right? There's so many steps to apply for a TEDx speaker. Now, everyone think that, is this enough? There are more than that. Definitely for sure. Now, you only just need to know 2 more. Would that be fine with 2 more? Now, the next 2 are also important to you. Now, as I mentioned, you have been doing talks and walk the talk in this industry. Now, the next thing that I will highly recommend you to boost your odds in the TEDx world is go to the TED website. Now, why? It's because I would advise and suggest to you that search for any TEDx events in your neighborhood after 6 months. Now, why do I put 6 months? There's a reason. Now, one of the reasons why after 6 months is because usually a TEDx event is organized with a 6 months period. They need a 6 months prep work. There's a different phase. There are 5 different phases for a TEDx event. Number 1, they are searching for the first step is I'm submitting a proposal with my volunteers to apply for a TEDx event. So this is the first stage. Once it's approved, then the next stage that they do is to find volunteers to support them. There are speaker curricular, there are coaches, they search for them. After they search for the speaking team, which basically fact check everything, and the coaches, now the next step is to find speakers. And that's where you come in. So that's why I said the 6 months period is whereby you can plan ahead which events are near you and start to reach out. Reach out and say, I got an amazing topic. I prepared a pitch, video pitch. Remember the video pitch? And also have that TEDx speaker application. Can I submit to you for your reference and consideration? This is one of the ways to apply for an official TEDx event. Okay, so the standard way is to apply through when they actually ask people for nominations and also recruiting speakers. So you can do this part, but you can also do a little step forward. No, sorry, a little step backwards. So to practice a little bit more. So it's not just that, that's only the first way. Now, the second way to do so is that you are the one who is kind of like, I'm the one who looks far into the future. So what do you mean by that? Volunteer as a TEDx voluntary group. Become a TEDx coach. Or become a TEDx volunteer. Have time to organize events. Get to know them. Get to know the organizers. Now, the reason why you actually get to know about them is that because the more you know about how the structure goes and plays, the more you're able to play to their strengths and your strengths. What your strength has to focus on is your idea. How do you make it easily understandable and relatable? And it's important. And also when you are knowing the organizing team, you also know one key factor that most speakers cannot know yet beforehand, which is the theme of the event. Now, why the theme is important? It's because every single year, every single TEDx event has a theme. Now, this theme decides your fate as a speaker when you apply for your speech. So if your speech is related to IT and that theme is related to environmental protection, it doesn't click. Sorry, you're out. Even without seeing it, because it's not relevant to the theme. So you want to get to know about the theme of the event as soon as possible to plan whether you can apply for this event or not. Or best of all, if you know the theme and you have an idea that matches the theme, go ahead and apply for it. Okay. So this is the second way to really go and volunteer yourself in the local community. And then for those events, TEDx events that has been organized for quite some time, they have something called the TEDx Circle. Just imagine that there are speaking clubs within TEDx. So they always discuss different talks. They have a little group that discuss for it. That's called the TEDx Circle. And TEDx Circle invites those guest speakers who have spoken on TEDx stage before. And you can interact with them. Get their endorsement. No, get to know them. Don't focus on endorsements. Get to know them more. And then also interact and learn different things from them. And by showing that you are TEDx enthusiastic, basically people know you existed. So the next time when you apply, people have a better impression on you. It takes every simple tiny steps to achieve a great one. So yeah, different steps there. Okay. So this is the second step. Now the third step is, as I mentioned just now earlier, if you are good enough, you don't need to be recommended because people will just find you and hunt you down. So the third way is you have your recognition and reputation there already, and people just reach out to you. Like for me, I've been in this TEDx industry for the past 6 to 7 years. And a funny thing to say is that most of the TEDx speaking coach are opportunities that I would dream of, but I never reach out to ask for it. So they find me, which is good. I mean, like it shows that they trust in me and believe in my credentials. So every time I see a speaker grooming and becoming an excellent TEDx speaker on the stage, my job is fulfilled at that moment. Of course, I would like to keep on shaping it even more and better. And that's really one of the key gists about becoming a TEDx speaker. I see all those people who left, so they didn't persevere. So the last thing to do is to be perseverant, to really stay on. Now, why do I actually put on the stay on part? It's because even though you have applied for a TEDx speaker application for quite some time, you'll receive rejects for sure. Now, don't be harsh on yourself. I got rejected a lot of times too. Now, it's because of 3 to 4 key reasons. Number 1, your topic doesn't match the theme. Number 2, your details and information are not too fact-checked. So basically, there are loopholes. So it's basically, you can also ask for feedback and say, what happens to my application? Is there anything that I can improve on it? Ask for the feedbacks humbly. And then they can tell you the things that they have watched on and give you some feedback and say, look, you can work on this more. The more feedbacks you have, it's just like speaking. The more feedbacks you're going to have, the better your speech is. Just like application, the more things that they find for you that you haven't discovered before, you have to thank them because they are helpful enough to point to you the right directions. So some example of fact checks. Okay, good question there. So let's say, for example, I'm just taking a very simple thing. Okay, so does the sun rise from the east to the west? Okay, this is a stupid fact that everyone knows the answer. Right? Sun rise from the east to the west. Okay, everyone knows it. Now, everyone knows it doesn't mean that it's true. So we have to do fact check the science publications. Why does it prove to be there? You need to have those facts. So I'm just taking a very simple, lively example. But then when it's fact checked, there are different things to support it. And I'm using one of the silliest examples that will suddenly pop up in my mind. But what about those things related to brain tumors? What about those things related to metaverse and holograms? What happens to introversies? What about stereotypes? Are there publications that supports them? Now I'm going to take that silly example and make it into something more realistic. Do you have things that back them up? Which publications are you going to support it? What's the unemployment rate during the pandemic? Do you know about it? If we talk about 70%, where do you get the statistic from? Is it from 15 years ago? Or is it from just 2 years ago? These are things that they do really care about. Because the more facts you have, the more trustworthy you are. And they trust you on your expertise. So I hope that answers your question related to the fact check, because there are gurus, just saying, not me, okay? Gurus that do fact checks. Oh, okay, this person says, check this website publication. And they actually read the publication of what you have supported. And if they see that it's just a random publication, it doesn't make sense, sorry, you're out. So it means that you lost their trust. Obviously, find something that really supports you. Okay. So that's related to the fact check. So also always persist, because you will definitely receive rejects, as I mentioned earlier on. Number 1, titles doesn't match. Number 2, it's because it has loopholes and it's not fact checked. Number 3, it's because you're not handsome. No, people don't care about handsome stuff because they check the speaker application. Your idea has been spoken somewhere else. That's number 3. That your idea is kind of like similar. It doesn't make any sense. Someone already spoken it there. So why do you speak it again? So duplicates are kind of jamming your odds. And finally, the last one is that the only reason why you wouldn't be on the stage, the last option, is that you are in a tabooed, okay, I'll use the word tabooed industry. Now, fun fact, do you know which organization TED will not work along with? You'll be surprised, right? Okay, TED doesn't work with anyone? Okay, there is one industry that TED will not work and associate with. So speakers from this industry, sorry, you're off. Yes, it's that serious. Debbie, would you like to say something about it and guess?
No, Aaron, absolutely no idea. Yep.
Okay, so just saying that is no media they talk a lot. Okay, they talk a lot about media. Okay, so what is it? Tobacco. Smoke. So anything that harms the world, we don't welcome it. Simple, understandable fact. Because you are bringing that brand in. Now, it focuses on ideas that benefits the world. So why does it do things that contradicts to it? You can actually search on the website. It actually specifies very clearly it doesn't. So yeah, so fun facts here. So these are things that you can do. So I can explain my journey from a nobody to a somebody now. So a little bit background. Is it time? Do you have a timer card, Debbie? Just in case. I can explain how I become a task coach and a tech coach. I got upgraded. So in the past, I was an introvert. I never liked about public speaking. I never liked to trust anyone. I never liked to talk. So imagine the worst introvert person in the planet. Someone that doesn't talk. When you are chit-chattering, you see someone at the corner drinking his apple juice, just observing. Yeah, that kind of person. I'm worse than that. So I don't like to talk. I don't like to even interact. Now you see I'm talking, like don't know what I'm doing right now. But most importantly, it's about the elements in play that is public speaking that actually turns me around. That allows me to feel that, hey, there is something worth sharing. There's something worth believing. There's something worth communicating for. So I love public speaking since the age of 18. So you can calculate how many years I am right now. So during that time, I started doing public speaking. I do public speaking in and a lot of industries, even in prisons. Yes, prisons where criminals are held. Yes, I do for rehabilitated prisoners. I do trainings for them to have a new leaf because when they come out, the most basic challenge they will face is being stereotyped by the world. So I hope to train their public speaking skills so that they can get that job, their chances at the job, or pass the interview and stuff like that. It's something meaningful for people who really wish to have a second life. Now, not just that, I also do for orphanage, old folks' homes. I do public speaking trainings for corporate world like Fortune 100 companies. And not just that, I do trainings for CEOs one-to-one and even movie stars. I'm not saying which movie star I'm going to put there, but at least every time I experience it, I learn something new from them because every time I coach them, I see their styles. I'm able to read them pretty thoroughly because the way that they move, the way that they speak actually reflects a lot about themselves. So you can pay attention to next time to someone who's speaking, observe their traits, their eyes, their movements, and it actually reflects a story there. So during this time of training itself, I start to develop my own unique skill, which is basically 5 minutes reading someone's past and present. So characteristics, what happens in the past and what really limits to their potential as a speaker. And not just that, I also learn NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, to help people who are in distress, depressions. So I want to be using communication not just as a tool to just reach out to people, but really help people to grow and reach their lives, etc. So because of all these things that I've been doing, I've been watched. Okay, I've been watched, but watched by a lot of people. There are people who are sour grapes and throw grapes at me. Yes, there are. There are people who like thinking, what is this guy doing? So like, what I'm really proud of is that I have been a pioneer in virtual. So basically now you're doing on Zoom. I started this back in 2009, before COVID, before pandemic. So I started even doing this part more. And I was one of the pioneers in that. I was doing trainings for virtual communication because companies are having regional meetings and they are not really effectively communicating. So I start to refine it. And those traces can be found. So I was recommended by different HRs, recommended by different companies, recommended by different CEOs. And people start to find me and hunt me down. And so because of those, I was reached out to my first TEDx youth event. Youth. So TEDx, okay, yeah. Do you know that there are 7 types of TEDx events? Okay, you'll be hearing like, okay, so let's break down the math. What sort of TED events are there? Okay. Number 1, TED, T-E-D. Okay. Write it down on your piece of paper so you can know what sort of categories, if in case you want to have a history lesson about it. TED. Okay. And then the next one is TED with an X. That's called independent franchise, independent licensing. So basically, organizers organize it. You all know about it. Next, TEDx Youth for students, youths, right? And then there is a TEDx Kids. Kids before the age of like 9 years old. Those kids, you can see a 4-year, 5-year speaking even better than an adult. Yeah, those are where kids are. Kids power. Yay. Okay, so forth. So remember, all those kids are also coached. So that's why they speak very well there. Okay. All of them are coached. So don't worry. Even kids, I love coaching TEDx kids. It's so adorable. You say, Teacher Aaron, how am I doing today? You see those lively loveliness there. It's so fun to teach. Although you will see some people say, Teacher, I didn't do my homework because my mom didn't give me a toy. So like, okay, I have to talk to his parents. And this is a nice conversation. So that's the gist about how the coaching process works. So which number am I right now? Just checking in. 4, okay. So we are the TEDx Kids, right? Okay. So TEDx Kids, thank you. So TEDx Kids. Now, next one we are going to have is TEDx Women. Simple, understandable fact, right? Women's are good. Debbie, are you telling me to time's up?
No. You can continue.
No, I was like,
Aaron.
why are you
can
raising my
continue.
hand?
Okay, your hand.
I was thinking that you were raising my hand like, because you don't want me to raise up. So that's TEDx Women. Okay, then after which, nowadays there are 2 more, which is kind of amazing there. One is TEDx technology. So anything related to technology like metaverse and stuff like that, you can see there's a trend there. And then I was really amazed by there's another hidden TEDx, which is called TEDx Climate Change. Now, climate change, global affairs and stuff like that. There is a TEDx Climate Change. Have a look. So I think those are different categories that's existing. Of course, there are other TEDx events that people are innovative to think about. Okay, and you'll be also always seeing that most of the TEDx events are started with different levels: level 1, level 2, level 3. Yes, because they want to know whether you're able to organize your event very well. So there's a different capacity for different levels. You can actually search alongside in the website. So it's like level 1, level 2, and level 3. So level 1 is where you are right now. So let's say, for example, you're on the street. You're living on the street. So you can actually have a TEDx whatever street. So you see the street is the level 1. And after which there is area or region. So basically, let's say, for example, there's a TEDx, and then after which there is a county, kind of. So basically, it's like a region within your area. So I don't know. Let's say, can you give me a place? I don't know about India though. Is there anyone from UK? No one. So don't worry. So any places you know about the world? Okay. So this is so hard. Global history. So anything related to a region. Okay, I need to think about it. I don't know about US. So I can think about China and Hong Kong and stuff like that. So Hong Kong, there are different places. Paris. Okay. Paris is a city level. That's called level 3. Okay. So before Paris and then above the street, so it's an area, that's level 2. Okay. So an area. So everyone get it? So it's like street, area, and then after which country. No, city, sorry. And after which a country. So it's like different levels there. Every single level have a different capacity. So after you organize how many times in the level 1, then you can go to level 2. So because it shows your organization capacity, your ability, and how effective it will be. Because the more experience you have, the more chances the organizer can organize a different level. So once you know about this mechanism, then my next question to you is to find the best network ever find a city level event first to get to know the organizers, because they are able to know what sort of are the streets events that may be organizing in that area. So it's not just through the website. You can really talk with the organizers there to get a little feel. So once you prepare all this stuff, just now I mentioned every single thing, then go for a TEDx application. Now, because you know that there are many people who would just dive in and say there's an opening, apply for it, and they always fail because they haven't done enough preparation. But preparation has a lot of different steps. Just now I mentioned those steps that are hidden behind the scenes. And realistically, you have to prepare for it. I remember there was one person that actually prepared 6 years applying for TEDx, keep on applying, keep on refining before they even get the first time to go to a TEDx event. So one last tip for everyone: to become a TEDx speaker, you need to persevere. It's not your idea is not good. Sometimes it's because it's not appropriate at that moment. You didn't fit to that genders. So that is all it is to be a TEDx speaker. Now, if you're inviting me back to talk about how to become a TEDx speaker, that is another topic for next time. But this time it's only for TEDx speaker. So now you see all this chunk. Yes, that's for TEDx speaker only. Now, if you want to know more about TEDx speaker, I'll wait for Debbie to invite me for. But to be a TEDx speaker is even harder than a TEDx speaker. So I hope this lesson, this class will be useful for everyone to apply for the next TEDx speaking application.
Wonderful inputs, Aaron. First, I would ask everyone to give Aaron a big round of applause. That was such wonderful tips, and many of them are very useful. Many nitty-gritties I was not aware of, and I've written down all the points, and I'm sure all the other participants have also written it down. So now I'll open up the floor for more questions. Any questions? Anyone? Please shoot to Aaron. He's there to guide you across. Yeah, Neelakshi, she's raising her hand. Yes, Neelakshi.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
Yeah. So about fact checking, when you have to check whether your speeches are whether your topic or speech is unique or not, then the database for those topics, do you search for like your local TEDx, all the speeches and the topics that your local TEDx has had, or do you search in the database for like all of TED Talks? Like the uniqueness, is that for the local thing or the global? Do you understand my question? I don't know whether
Yeah, I understand your question. So first answer to that is the global. Okay, so search globally, because basically, remember, or every single TED Talk you're going to do is going to be viral all around the world. Okay, and then you'll be wondering, if you're able to search, like click on TED Talks or maybe search on YouTube and type maybe TED Talks on IT, there'll be some topics like, let's say for example, codings. There's something like metaverse that people talk about. It looks similar, but they're always different. If you find something that's similar, usually it's removed. So you'll be finding something that may talk about the similar topics, but they have a different focus point. So it's a global scale. So first things to do a fact check is search around the world online, even ask for some recommendation. That's why I asked you to go and talk with the organizers, maybe the TEDx speakers, get into the group, because they will know some stuff that you might not know. Like for example, the TEDx speakers say, "Oh, there's a speaker that talks about IT, which you're talking similar to it. I recommend you to go and have a look." This person you might not even heard about before, but then when you look at it and see what your speech is different from his, that's where your chances is. So yeah, definitely search on a global scale, because we want to be all-rounded, not just limited by your own country.
Thank you.
Hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Any other question?
Anybody else? Feel free to ask Aaron. Yes, Anuradha has a question. Yeah.
I think Premila would like to go. Premila, please go ahead.
Hi,
Yeah.
Aaron. I'm audible.
Yes, sir, you're
I'm
audible.
audible?
Yes, Pramila.
I'm finding little internet issue today. Anyways, Aaron, thank you very much for giving us such a insightful about TEDx. And this is, I'll tell you, this is my bucket list. I don't know when I'm going to fulfill, but yes, this is my bucket list. I just want to know, we are not, from a vernacular medium. I don't have proper command over English. As a coach, as a TEDx coach, will you help me to write the speech and help me to, you know, come on the stage and express my ideas? My English is different than your English, and and TEDx wants a proper English. What I have seen many TEDx, I usually have a 20 minutes listening to TEDx. Any speaker, it must be anybody in the YouTube. I go and I listen to TEDx. I've seen they have very well command over their English, and we don't. We are from India, and I'm from basically from South and mixture of sambar. I don't understand how to communicate properly with English. So will you help me to write proper content about uh, you know um content about my speech, how to deliver? I'm just asking you. Hello?
Okay, so a very, very thorough question. I would say this is one of the common questions that we are being asked to. Do coaches actually write the script for the speaker? The answer is no. Okay, very simple fact. Reason because it's your idea. We are able to guide you through. So basically, remember what we focus on. Remember the myth buster I mentioned. Do you need to speak very well to become a TEDx speaker? Yes or no? No, right? It's because
No.
of your idea. Okay, so number one, it's because of your idea. Number two, even when you don't have good commands of English, when you do your speech, as a coach, we are guiding you to find the simple words that translate the most effective impact. So we help you to find the words that you feel comfortable with and you're able to speak very fluently. There are speakers who doesn't even use a very complicated vocabulary in their entire speech because simple words matters. Okay, so let's say, for example, the 3 words that people always love, like I like you. Is it hard to understand? Not really. But then it actually expresses a lot of emotions behind it. We're able to find the right words that you will feel comfortable in saying that also reflects on your idea. So what a coach does is to guide you to find your momentum, find your confidence, find the way that you're going to speak for. And not just that, we also help you to find what is best to show your idea out. Is it visual? Do you want to do social experiment? How do you want to design your stage? We give you some ideas, but most importantly is you decide what you want because it's your speech. You are the spotlight, not me. Okay, so that's one of the key important points. And number 2, if you are super worried about your language, let you know, TEDx, since it's an independent, basically I get the license from it, there are different TEDx events that are spoken in different languages. You can find a TEDx event that basically matches your language. There are, for sure, okay? And not just that, when you actually find that more relevant to that language itself, then you might feel much more comfortable in sharing. That's totally all right. So you can have a choice. One, you can try to speak your idea in English, which basically everyone understands around the world. Or you can pick a TEDx event that speaks your language. However, limited vacancy, because I don't know how many organizers will organize that. And not just that, we also focus on the most important element is that there has to be translators. And we do have a translation crew. So basically just imagine from the global audience perspective, when they're listening, yes, you're going to reach to your local crowd, but is your aim just the local or is the aim for the world? So that's your own question to answer it. You can choose. There's pros and cons for everything about both sides. But if you want to start off, why not just pick the one that's on your own language and you feel much more comfortable? That's one way to go. But then if you want to challenge yourself, and rest assured, all the TEDx coaches are very professional. If you don't, one more additional tip for you to let you know. If you're a speaker, you got enlisted as the TEDx speaker role, and you find a coach that doesn't help you much, like basically maybe that person skips his training sessions, maybe that person doesn't have a good vibe with you, you can always request to change your coach. and change to someone that really guides you and understands you. Totally free of charge. It really depends on the organizer. Say, no, sorry, I can't find this one. This doesn't match with me. Totally all right. Okay. Yeah, we still have a hand up there. I hope that answers your question, though.
Thanks for the input, Aaron. I think Anuradha had a question. Yeah.
Am I? Okay.
Yeah, sure. Anuradha.
Good evening, Aaron, and thank you so much for the wonderful points what you've given to us. First of all, I would like to know that what is TEDx in college? Because in most of the colleges in Bangalore, they do have this TEDx in college. Is it the same what you have been saying, TEDx globally?
You mean in college, right? They
In
actually
college,
put the
yeah.
name of the college, actually. So
Yes.
basically a TEDx, and then there's a college name there.
And the college name.
Or like streets. There's an event that's called the TEDx. One that I actually help is TEDx Eloy Street, which I'm coaching right now, is for youths. So basically, it's actually supported by the school as well. So there are some events like recently I also have another one which is called TEDx Brook Green, which is in UK. It's actually in a college within a school. So even the school can organize it because it's within the street. Remember, that's actually one tiny area. You can start from there as a level 1. There are more and more TEDx events held in colleges, and even TED main website, or saying TED headquarters actually going to launch a TEDx youth students program, basically helping the youths to speak very well. So you can actually check it as one of the latest updates from TED. So basically, they're trying to introduce TEDx teaching training programs into schools. So it also helps the students to even be on their public speakings, and not just that, their ideas building, because ideas is what matters for new future generations too. So college, definitely yes. And adding on to the question that's mentioned in the chat box, most of the speech in TEDx is 18 minutes. Even TED is 18 minutes. However, for kids, let's take a few steps back. For TEDx kids, we don't usually force an 18 minute gap because kids will feel tired. Imagine like a 5-year-old kid speaking for 18 minutes. That's the toll. Now there's so some of the kids there, they only speak for 10 minutes, use around like 13 to 15 minutes around there. So 18 minutes is more of a recommended for all the adults, just in case you're wondering about the timings. So we coaches, we will guide you through the speech there. That answers it, both of your questions.
Thank you, Aaron. I think
Thank
Neelakshi
you.
also had another question.
Yeah, I
You
just
don't
actually posted it on the chat.
Okay. I will
If you don't
read.
have a degree in the topic, right? You are speaking about how else can you be seen as credible for the topic you want to speak about? Let's say, for example, you know Bill Gates.
Sorry?
Do you know Bill Gates? Please say you do.
Yeah.
I'll be shocked if you
No,
do.
no, please.
Did he have a degree before he graduated?
No. I think he left school, right?
No, right? He left school, right? There are people who are dropouts. There are people who doesn't even have a degree. Degree is just only a piece of paper, actually. Once you go to work and work for like 5 to 10 years, is your degree working, or do they believe in your skill set and expertise? Skill set and expertise, right?
Yes.
So the thing is that you have been working for a long time, and those are actually your experience that people can see and trust on you. So degree doesn't really matter. Degree is just only an impression booster. It just boosts people. Wow, there is a nice degree from Oxford. So are you qualified to talk about the topic? So we actually not just look at the degree, we focus more on your experience and your expertise in this area to the idea that you're going to share.
Yep. I think that answers the question. Any more queries? Any more questions? I think, yeah, it's time to wrap up. We have had such a wonderful session today. Lot of, nuggets of wisdom, and I was totally glued into what Aaron was speaking. Probably someday all of us sitting here can, give a TEDx speech, and probably Aaron will help us out, guide us through at that stage. So thank you everyone for joining, and it was wonderful having all of you here. And special thanks to Aaron. He has taken some precious time, out of his busy schedule. Let's again give him a big round of applause. Would love to have you again, Aaron, on yet another public speaking topic. Okay, again, hand raising. Did I do
I
that?
actually have something to say.
Okay.
I forgot. There's one thing that I forgot to say, which is quite important too. Now, to be a TEDx speaker, now this is actually triggered from one of my friends. Not just friends. There are more than that. There's more than just one. That came to me and told me this. And this is something I would say is a disclaimer to say to everyone. You will notice that those speakers who become a TEDx speakers or TEDx coach, you get a very awesome reputation, right? In your career, in your jobs and stuff like that. Now, there are TEDx speakers, TEDx coaches that will sell you something called the TEDx Accelerator. Have you heard about that before? Okay, so what does it do? Okay, so TEDx Accelerator is actually something whereby they help you to prepare your whole TEDx package. It's just like a lazy package to get prep to go there. Okay, it gives you all the things that you need. You have the private coaching and stuff like that. Now, this disclaimer comes in. Those people who are speakers, who are coaches, who sells you about TEDx Accelerator, not everyone can be trusted. I will have to say, this is whereby they monetize it just to earn your money. I'm so sorry. I just remember this. It's very important because I have two clients actually get scammed in that area because they were believing that they can get a TEDx speaker role, like assured. And then it turns out that they don't. And like a lot of money is gone. Like I can convert into Hong Kong dollars, but I'm thinking about US dollars. How much is it? Around 3,000 to 4,000 USD gone. That's a lot. So if you're looking for these people to help you on, just letting you know that the TEDx coaches who are coaching you in the TEDx events are free. Okay, are free. Okay, so when you are being coached in the TEDx events and the coaches help you and they ask you for money, report it. Okay, highly recommend for it because they are not supposed to charge you money because it's a non-profit organization. Now, for those things as a TEDx Accelerator or TEDx style talking and stuff like that, I highly recommend you to look at the credentials of that person before you apply for it. Not saying that all of them are fake, but there are quite a lot that monetize on this factor that everyone wants to be a TEDx speaker, just like why you're here now. What I'm just offering you on that early on is all the practical tips to really get onto the stage. Now, there are people who wants to speed that process up and find a TEDx coach. That's fine by me. That's totally all right. Now, the TEDx coach shouldn't just focus on TEDx Accelerator, but really on crafting your own speech and helping you on. So find someone that is highly, I'm not promoting myself. I'm just saying that there are other TEDx coach or TED coach that are trustworthy. Really look at the credentials before you apply for any TEDx Accelerators. Don't be scammed. That's one way that I would highly recommend at the last bit, because I think this is one of the most important facts I failed to mention. Yeah. And many of my friends are starting to know about this and get into it. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Aaron. This is a crucial input. And any of you want to get connected with Aaron, he has dropped his profile link and you can get connected with him on LinkedIn and he'll provide you further guidance as to how to go about preparing speeches. And as you all just saw, he's a very good, coach, a very good mentor. I don't know, he dropped out, maybe network issues. Let me just just a minute. Let me just check. Let's just wait for him to rejoin. Yeah, he's back.
Yeah, I rejoined.
Yes. So, Aaron, in the coming weeks, you can expect, some of us to reach out to you. And thanks again for this wonderful.
I've already sent you. Aaron, I've already sent you a connect on LinkedIn.
Yeah, already you are getting connect request. So before we wrap up, let's have a selfie, a virtual selfie. I'll just take a screenshot. Yep. So yeah. So if Nadira can switch on her camera for a while, if possible, fine, or else
Not
okay.
many people left. I
Yep.
just scare everyone away.
So yeah, let me just check if the pic has come out fine. Yeah. Yeah, it has come out well. Yes. So let's wrap up the session for today. Thank you so much, Aaron, and thank you, everyone. So next week, I'll be back with yet another session. Take care, everyone, and good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, Devi. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Devi. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks again, Aaron. Thanks again. Though
You
it
can
was,
stop the recording.
yep, I will pause.